Hi everyone, Extra Flaming here and welcome back to a YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, I'm going to be telling you guys what went wrong for Australia in this ICC 2022 T20 Men's World Cup here in Australia. Of course, if you don't already know, Australia have missed the semi-finals due to, results not going their way. So a bit of bad luck, but yeah, they have missed the semi-finals in 2022. They had a perfect chance to go back-to-back on their home soil, but again, just couldn't do it. And there's a couple of big reasons as to why they could not back up last year and get a double win in a row, down to these reasons. So essentially, I'm just going to be going over these parts of the video. So they lost to New Zealand by 89 runs was a devastating one. Australia versus England washout was devastating. Not finishing off games properly, where we had the opposition in a great position, but we just couldn't finish them off and ended up letting them get away with a tight loss in the end. And then our net run rate was always an issue throughout the tournament, and a reason as to why we couldn't get into the semi-finals. So in Australia's group, with his Group A or Group 1, it was New Zealand, England, Australia, Sri Lanka, Ireland and Afghanistan in the group. So a mix of hard teams and easy teams, 3 hard, 3 easier sides. And it ended up finishing New Zealand, England and Australia, first, second and third, all on 7 points in the end, all on 7 points. But it was net run rate in the end, which really did stuff up the Aussies, because New Zealand's net run rate 2.112, England's net run rate 0.473, and then Australia's net run rate negative 0.173. So their net run rate was quite far behind England and of course New Zealand. And I'm going to be going over why that happened. This net run rate got so far behind, because there was one clear reason as to why this happened. So the first reason, the only reason as to why Australia's net run rate got so far behind was this first game versus New Zealand. So you got to wind right all the way back to the first game of all the groups. It was match 13 after all the lower ranked teams have played each other to fight for spots in the main groups. This was the first game of the main groups clashing, and it was Australia versus New Zealand at the SCG. New Zealand won by 89 runs in the end due to a brilliant batting start. Finn Allen and Devon Conway, 42 off 16 for Finn Allen, 92 off 58 for Devon Conway, really did lead from the front in that big win over Australia. And altogether, they put close to 150 on the board. They put about 135 on the board together out of 200, followed by strong performances by Williamson, Phillips and Neesham Lauron down the order to finish them off and get them to that score of 200. And woeful bowling by Australia. All of their bowlers were pumped. Cummins, none for 46 off his 4. Hazelwood did pick up 2 wickets, but 241 off 4. Stark, none for 36 off 4. And then again, Zampa, 1 for 39 off 4. And Stoinis, none for 38. So all their bowlers were absolutely pumped there for Australia. You knew 200. When New Zealand set that, that's 20 runs. That's 20 runs and over, I believe that is. And that's tough to get. And, not 20, sorry. That'd be 10 runs and over, sorry. But yeah, then Australia, 200, you're not getting that. You know that. And then Warner, Finch fell cheaply, 5 and 13. Maxwell tried to rebuild with 16 and 28 each, but then again, more falling. 7 for Stoinis, 11 for David, 2 for Wade. Cummins, he was the second best scorer with 21 off of 18. Stark got 4, a duck for Zampa, and then 1 for Hazelwood. So it was a really poor start. That net run rate, in the end, we were down to negative 4, and a lot of rebuilding needed to be done. So after that loss, the net run rate was in a poor position. But now we go on to part number 2, where the Australia versus England game got washed out with no result whatsoever because of the rain. It was a poor Friday night at the MCG, with the previous game before that being washed out as well, and this one having no result, despite many attempts for a game to be played. And in the end, it did prove costly for both Australia and England, who would have been wanting a result out of that game. And when you see how close the ladder position did end up finishing, first was, in the end, you look now, first was definitely well and truly up for grabs in that game. And no result, which could have gotten Australia in, or it could have gotten further behind. But yeah, that game was going to be a really big clash, a chance for Australia to increase or B decrease their net run rate. So that game really did have a lot of possibilities. It was one of the best games of the tournament, and it got wiped out, which was devastating because that was going to be a really, really big and watchable game to see where both sides are at and to predict the rest of the T20 World Cup. So now we move on to part number 3, which is not finishing games off properly from where we're in a really good position or could have gone a lot further than what we ended up doing. So great start against Ireland at the Gabba a little bit earlier on this week or like last week or something like that. But a great start against Ireland. We put 5 for 179 after 20, which was a really great score, and it was a winnable score, and we were going to win. We looked confident that we were going to win, and we had Ireland in a really good position. Like we got him in a really good position. We got him at 5 for 25, which if I can find it right here, 5 for 25, George Dockrell, after just 4 overs, we've got him 5 for 25, which puts us in a great spot. The Ireland top order, Sterling going for 11, Bulbarine going for 6, Tector going for 6, and then you've got Camper and Dockrell going for ducks, each 1 and 4 ball duck. And you feel like we're in a really good position. You've got now Gareth Delaney and Lorcan Tucker at the crease, and you just really need to get Tucker out, and then you really get into their lower order, and you can bowl them out for about 60. But no, that's not the case. Of course, Tucker was going to be annoying for the Aussies and go on to make a 71 not out of 48 to not necessarily guide on to a win, because they weren't going to win at 5 for 25, but at least put them into a spot where they weren't going to get absolutely thumped and allow Australia to go right a free path into the semi-finals, you could say. So lower order wise for Ireland, again, nothing special. Delaney out for 14, Adair out for 11, Hand out for 6, McCarthy out for 7, Little out for 1. But it was Lorcan Tucker, that kept him in at 71 or 48. It's not like a bang innings or anything, but he managed to hold on to 8 overs. He faced 8 overs in the whole game, made 71 from them, and really did keep Ireland from being embarrassed. And after 5 for 25, Australia should have bowled him out a lot quicker than what they did. But in the end, no, 6 for 68, 7 for 91, 8 for 103, 9 for 136, and then 10 for 137. So at times, still like 7 for 91, it looked like we were going to bowl them out for around that 100, which still would have been good enough to boost the net run rate. But Ireland managed to keep themselves in it and didn't get embarrassed, and we couldn't boost our net run rate, despite some very good batting by the Aussies. 63 Finch, 28 Marsh, 35 Stoinis, 15 David, like some great performances, but yeah, Ireland managed to stay in and hang in there. And then again, same for a few nights ago versus Afghanistan at the Adelaide Oval. Again, we were really primed to get a great score in this one. We had a great start. It looked like 200 was well and truly what we should have been achieving, and this was another great chance to boost our net run rate. And if we had a one bigger in this game, we probably would have gotten through to the semi-finals as well. So we set 8 for 168, which was not great. When I saw that, I was a bit disappointed by that score, because I did know that we were truly capable of getting around that 200. Even if it wasn't 200, 185, 190 was still well and truly on the table. But we just couldn't finish the game off nicely and strongly. We lost too many late wickets. Warner, he was alright at the top of the order with 25. Cam Green gone for 3. Meanwhile, Marsh put together a nice innings, 45. Smith gone for 4. Stoinis, 25, also put together a nice innings. Maxwell was the real rock and the aggressor as well, 54 off 32. And then Wade gone for 6. Cummins gone for a duck. Richardson gone for 1. Zampa 1 not out. So, bit disappointing there. Rashid Khan really did hold the Aussies. 1 for 29 after 4, but he had some brilliant efforts in the field, which were like match-saving efforts. Naveen ul Haq as well kept the Aussies quiet. 3 for 21 off his 4 as well. Got no idea if that's how you say his name, but Naveen really did keep the Aussies quiet in the end there. And then Afghanistan, we looked okay. We looked like we were going to get through them as well. At one stage, they were 2 for 40. We really could have gone place. They were 1 for 15, and they were 5 for 99, 6 for 103. So again, we really did have chances to bowl them out for about 115, 120 towards the later part of that game. And their top order, Gurbaz gone for 30, and then they did have a couple of bad performances, Ghani, and then Nubby and Zadran, and then Rasuli as well, gone for 15, a duck, 1 and 2, and then Zadran, 26 off 33, didn't strike the ball greatly. Naib did give him a chance. And then Rashid Khan, 48 off 23, showing the world why he's one of the best players in this format. 48 off 23. Again, kept Afghanistan in it. And Australia could not swipe any of these big wins at all. They couldn't get any of them because they had been in a great position. We could have bowled them out for 120, as I said. But Afghanistan managed to fight back later on in the game. They managed to fight back just like Ireland did. And we just put the foot off the accelerator from where we're going really well to a point where we only just scraped over the line or didn't get as big a wins as we should have. Plus, the T20 World Cup did also fall in the middle of some really big tournaments that we've also had going on. Well, not necessarily tournaments, but series and fixtures. We had plenty of white ball cricket, ODIs and T20s going on against teams like New Zealand, England, India, Zimbabwe before the T20 World Cup. And on the 17th of November, we're heading straight back into a 3-game ODI series versus England. So we aren't having much of a rest, and that net run rate was really poor. We really did have a chance here to, well, have a good crack at the World Cup, considering it was on our home soil. We know these grounds the best. But in the end, the other teams did manage to take it away from us. That washout versus England, though, was, I feel like, where everything really did turn bad. That was our chance to stand up and prove ourselves, but that got washed out. But yeah, since that first game against New Zealand, that 89-run loss, that was always going to be devastating and really going to hurt us. And a lot of work was required to come back from that. And we just showed that we simply weren't up to that amount of work to bring the net run rate back from -4 back to a decent thing, which we still didn't get it above 0 anyway. But there is always next T20 World Cup. We can't go back to back. We can't win on home soil. That's unfortunate. We do miss the semi-finals, but I'm going to end that there. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Bye everyone. Extra Flaming out.